Alright guys, today I'm going to be doing CHING number 136, so we're just going to get straight into it. I do want to say within this CHING, there were a lot of buyers who are subscribers of mine, so I just want to take the moment to continuously thank you guys for, ever making purchases with me. I know a lot of you are repeat buyers, like you constantly seemingly buy a lot of stuff from me, and I'm very thankful for every single one of your purchases. And this cha-ching, I am telling you, is chock full of subscriber purchases, so I just want to thank everyone for that. I always say, and I will continue to say, you never have to purchase anything from me. I do know sometimes, like, when I do my haul videos, there are times when, someone sees something and they just have to have it, so I completely understand. So I just want to thank everyone who has purchased from me in the past, or continues to be like a repeat buyer. So we're just gonna get straight into it. Our first item was an amber glass hobnail stretch bud vase that sold for $29.99. More than likely that came from one of the auctions that Eric had gone to, where he got a bunch of different pieces of glass. Next item to go to a subscriber named Dina. Dina also purchases items from me off of Whatnot as well. So Dina purchased a Goebel Santa Claus ornament for $5.99. This more than likely came on a tray lot of some other Christmas stuff that I had won at an auction. Next item went to a subscriber named Charlotte. This was for the series Ghost Whisperer on DVD that sold for $30. That also came from an auction. One night there was a lot of DVD series that came up at auction. I also sold a Chinese butterfly vase. This sold for $29.99. Also came from an auction, and this one came from the auction where I had purchased a bunch of cloisonne vases, so this was from that time. Next item was a vintage Bosch & Lomb magnifying glass. This one was really unique looking. It wasn't your typical round magnifying glass. It was kind of like a rectangle almost. That sold for $19.99, and I'm pretty sure Eric paid $1 for that at an auction. Next item was for this little tiny mouse figure. It was made out of real fur, I do believe rabbit fur, and he was dressed up like a little tennis player. It was made in West Germany, so it was an older piece. This came from a lady. I had purchased like a case full of little pewter figurines from her at a yard sale, and there was some other random stuff inside, and this was inside of it, and that sold for $12.99. Next two items went to a subscriber named Sandra. She purchased, this is another Goebel item I had. It was a little Christmas angel, and she was a candle holder that sold for $14.99. And she also purchased a Homeco angel holding a songbook, and that sold for $12.99. Trying to think of where I picked up these two things. More than likely they were on trays, like Christmas trays at an auction, but they also could have potentially came from a yard sale as well. Next item did come from an auction. This was a pinback button, and it had a doll on it, and the doll was made by someone named R. John Wright. If you guys have watched all my videos, you know I have sold a little like felted doll by R. John Wright, very expensive dolls. So This was just a pin button, kind of like advertising type piece for, you know, his doll. I think it was the Edith doll. That sold for $12.99. And like I said, I picked that up at an auction, just decided to take a chance. I figured maybe if there was someone out there who collects Art John Wright stuff, they might be interested in, you know, having a pin to go, you know, with their collection, and somebody did purchase it. So that's awesome. Next item came from a yard sale. This was a trucker hat, and it was for the Hanover Nighthawks, which is my hometown's school mascot. My mom went there. Weirdly enough, like my hometown, I didn't go to their high school or even elementary school. Like around here, there, you know, you could be in the same town but go to a school a town away just based on where you live in that town. It was always so weird to me that, you know, I went to the school a town away, but that's just how it all worked out in the way of growing up, just with like the population and things like that. But anyway, I found this hat at a yard sale, and it had those 3 stripes. It was a 3-stripe hat, and typically in the past, at least, those, you know, vintage style hats would sell rather well. I feel like it's getting a little harder to sell vintage trucker hats just because, I don't know, it's probably an oversaturation in the market of vintage trucker hats by now. But this one did sell for $19.99, and I probably paid $1 or less for it. This was a good sale. This was for a vintage Atomic Sputnik Christmas tree topper. So this would have gone on the top of the Christmas tree, made of plastic, very just unique. Eric actually picked this up at a yard sale. He was digging around in a box and found it mixed in with among other Christmas stuff. And I'm pretty sure he only paid like $5 for it, and it sold for $199.99. So it was a very desirable Christmas tree topper. And typically anything Atomic in general can sell really well, and especially Christmas stuff. Like if you find like vintage Christmas figures that, you know, might have Santa on like a rocket ship, like a space shuttle type thing, those pieces always sell for more money. It's just, they're harder to come by and more highly collectible. Next was a little angel made from clay. So this was a little pottery angel that sold for $12.99. I feel like this might have came from a fill-a-bag rummage sale. Next item was a McCoy pumpkin tea light holder. We actually picked this up at an auction. We won it. And it wasn't even marked McCoy. I looked it up and I found out that it was McCoy. Well, come to find out, we just won another pumpkin at an auction, and it's also a McCoy pumpkin. And the McCoy, bleh, I can't talk. The McCoy pumpkins can sell pretty decently. Some more than others. I think there was a pumpkin cookie jar that I saw was selling really well. Anyway, this one sold for $39.99, and I have another one with a slightly different face that I have to list now. I sold a lot of Barbie dishes and just like kitchenware type of pieces. I sometimes pick up bags of Barbie stuff at yard sales and things like that, and I just threw together all of the dishes and kitchen kind of pieces, and that sold for $12.99. I also sold a Regis Shine hair mist for $29.99, and that actually came from Goodwill, one of the last times that I had gone to Goodwill, and I think I paid $1.99 or $2.99 for that. Sold a Monet trinket box. We still have so many Monet trinket boxes, but they are selling still here and there. This one was of a flower pot with purple flowers, and that sold for $44.99. That was a repeat buyer, but I'm pretty sure it was someone who, you know, has just been purchasing Monet trinket boxes. I also sold a lot of vintage goodie hair barrettes. These came from a yard sale, I'm pretty sure, and those sold for $25.99. I also sold a vintage ceramic strawberry shortcake lamp. This came from an auction. I had won just a little lot of some strawberry shortcake items that sold for $29.99. It was definitely one of those strawberry shortcake pieces that I had never stumbled upon before, so that's why I was interested in it. I also sold a Hallmark pop-up Christmas card. This was a used card, but some used cards still do sell. That sold for $9.99. And this was either with a tray of Christmas stuff I won at an auction, is where I'm thinking it came from. I also sold a Fenton hobnail swung vase for $19.99. Probably came from that same glass auction. Also a Barbie doll sized nightgown. This sold for $5.99. Again, like I said, I sometimes am picking up just bags full of Barbie stuff at yard sales, and sometimes parting it out, sometimes making lots, just depending. I did look this particular piece up and it seemed like, you know, it was selling, not for a whole lot, but considering I usually pay like $1 or so for like bags of just Barbie clothes and things like that, that's not bad when you're parting those things out. I also sold a little ceramic owl trinket dish for $9.99. I feel like this might have come from a fill-a-bag rummage sale as well. The next 4 items went to Sandra. She purchased a Yankee candle from me. This was a summer trio, so it was like I think it was like 3 different scents in one candle as it burned down. That sold for $19.99, and I feel like that might have come from an auction or a yard sale. Next item did come from a yard sale. This was a vintage blanket by Beacon, and it had a really pretty rose design on it that was brand new. That sold for $49.99. She also purchased a lot of Halloween wooden rubber stampers for $8.99, as well as a brand new pack of Bill Blass pillowcases for $19.99. And I'm pretty sure those came from a yard sale. Next item did come from an auction. This was a brand new, still sealed Disney Haunted Mansion. It was a 40th anniversary set. It had a record in it, a CD in it. I don't even know what all was in it, but they were selling really well. It sold for $259.99. So that was a great sale. And like I said, it did come from an auction, and it also came with some other Disney related stuff that I won. Some of it sold, some of it hasn't sold yet. Next item was a horse wall hanging, Danish style, so wood with that brass metal. That sold for $99.99, and I did win that at an auction, I'd say for $10 or less. I also sold, of course, a Catherine Lily White Halloween ornament. This one was of a black cat that sold for $9.99. I feel like they are in my cha-chings every single time I do a cha-ching. I also sold a Department 56 little Halloween town village piece. This was of a tower with a pumpkin on top. That sold for $39.99. That also came from an auction. I sold a Coach glasses case. It was a hard glasses case for $12.99, and I picked that up at a fill-a-bag rummage sale. Next item I did take a best offer on. This was by a company called Shrine of Hollywood. It was a black vest. It had a real cool, like, gothic look to it. And the stuff by that company sells really well. This vest did have some issues. There were some issues with it. I took an offer of $45 on it. I had it listed for a while, so it was time to just let that go, but that is a good brand if you ever come across it. I also sold a vintage from 1992 Richard Petty NASCAR shirt. This one was what they call an AOP shirt, which stands for all over print. That's when you have graphics all over front and back of a shirt. And those shirts can sell way more than if you just have a graphic on the front or like a graphic on the back. So some vintage NASCAR shirts can sell really, really well, as well as like band tees and things like that. This one here sold for $134.99, and Eric did win that at an auction. We also sold a pair of Mary Jane style shoes by a brand called Sanita. Those sold for $39.99. I either picked them up at a yard sale or potentially a thrift store, but I feel like it was a yard sale. Next item came from the auction. This was for a really tall, large, frosted glass elephant with his trunk up. It was a decanter. This thing was absolutely huge. That sold for $99, and like I said, that did come from an auction. Next item also came from an auction. This was one of those baskets by Daryl Arwejo. This one had a lid. I did win this during one of the folk art auctions we had gone to, and that sold for $89.99. I think that day I won maybe 4 baskets by this person, and they all sold. I also sold a vintage Dream Pet reindeer by Dakin. That sold for $21. And I'm trying to think of where that came from. I'm not sure if that was in like a box lot of stuff I won at an auction is what I'm thinking it came from. Next item went to a subscriber named Susan. This was for a mini little cloisonne ginger jar that sold for $12.99. It actually came on a tray of some Monet trinket boxes we had won. Next item went to a subscriber named Allison. I actually met Allison before. She's super sweet. She purchased a Pier 1 kitty cat mug, and it had like, one of the cats had this really cute little grumpy face to it, and I think that's what made her fall in love with that mug, because it was the same way for me. That sold for $9.99, and that did come from a yard sale. Next item went to a subscriber named Sharon. She purchased a set of Finding Nemo salt and pepper shakers from me for $39.99, and those came from an auction. I also sold a Fenton green glass square tea light holder for $12.99. I'm pretty sure that came from that same glass auction that I've been talking about. Eric and I still have like a tote full of swung vases, stretchers, like the little bud vases, and just other random glassware from that auction. I also sold a Philosophy Pure Grace perfume for $49.99. This either came from an auction where I was purchasing a bunch of Philosophy stuff or the flea market, because I got a bunch of perfumes at the flea market one day for like $5 a piece. So it might have come from the flea market. I also sold, this was an amazing sale. This came from one of the folk art auctions that we had gone to. This was for an antique templates vase. Oh my gosh, this was like the most beautiful vase ever. It hurts me a little bit to have sold it because it was gorgeous. Not like I needed to keep it or anything, but it was just one of those like amazing pieces. I got a cha-ching too. I love when I get cha-chings when I'm doing a cha-ching video. It's so exciting. Templates vase sold for $899.99. I'd say we paid probably $100, potentially $200 for it. But you know, there was still a lot of profit to be made off of that piece. Next we have a Torrid swimsuit. This was brand new with the tags, that sold for $49.99. Got that at a yard sale, and I'm pretty sure I paid $5 for that. Sandra purchased some more stuff. She got a little Napco pixie girl with red hair that sold for $25.99. And she also picked up this really cute little whimsical long-necked cat for $9.99. And I think those two pieces came from, I'm not sure if it was a yard sale or potentially like a box lot from an auction. Sometimes I have a hard time remembering things. Next item did come from a yard sale. This was a whimsical cat ornament that sold for $19.99. I got a couple of these at a yard sale. It was so funny. The yard sale was put on by a lady that owns a pet store in the area that we get our dog food and treats and stuff at. So I think this was like old stock of like animal themed ornaments that she was selling in the store at one point. So she had a lot of multiples of ornaments. And as far as this cat ornament goes, like I said, I had quite a few listed, and I feel like I'm down to like 1 or 2 left. So they were selling really well, and I paid $1 a piece for them. I also sold, this was a paperweight made out of they used Mount St. Helens ash to make it. My mouth wanted to say Mount St. Mary's because that's like a semi-local college around here. Anyway, that sold for $59.99, and that did come from an auction. Next 2 items went to a subscriber named Linda. She purchased a set of green wheaten glass apothecary style jars for $35.99. Those we picked up at a yard sale. And she also purchased a Fenton opalescent nut dish that sold for $19.99, which again I think came from that glass auction. Next item went to Sharon. It was a Catherine Lily White Halloween ornament of some black cats that sold for $12.99. Then I have 2 items that were purchased by a subscriber named Marianne. She purchased a Fenton lilac colored glass shoe for $29.99. As well as a Westmoreland stretch vase that sold for $59.99. The vase came from the glass auction, and I think the Fenton shoe came from a yard sale. I also randomly sold this vintage neon pink Velcro wallet. This would have been something like you would have won as a prize at like the roller rink or an arcade or something like that. So it was older. This actually was in a box lot of some stuff I won at an auction, and it sold for $12.99. I think I also sold a green one as well. And the last thing that I have for this cha-ching went to a subscriber named Timothy, and they purchased an aluminum Christmas strand of bells. We picked these up at a yard sale, and those sold for $19.99. So that is everything for this cha-ching. Let's see what that cha-ching was, because I'm just dying to know. I sold an eyeshadow for $49.99. I have, oh my gosh, you guys know I'm obsessed with beauty stuff, and I have so much beauty stuff that like I've never even touched. And this was for an Urban Decay eyeshadow, and the shade is completely discontinued, and I about crapped my pants when I saw what it was selling for. So 50 bucks for an eyeshadow is just crazy. I know I was going through some of my stuff. I have a brand new still sealed from Bath and Body Works lip gloss. I forget what the scent was now. Someone has it listed for like $100. I didn't see it selling for that, so I don't know if like they're just trying to get that much, but a part of me isn't sure if I want to sell it or not, because it was like one of the last Christmas gifts that I got from my parents. So I just don't know if I'm ready to sell it. Like, I'm never probably ever going to use it, but it's just one of those things like I don't think I can get rid of, if that makes sense. I mean, I have so much stuff from my parents, you know what I mean? But it's like, it's one of those things like it still holds that specific memory for me, so I'm not entirely sure if I'm ready to part with it. But as far as eBay goes, last, what is it, 31 days, my sales are still down. I'm at 12% down. I feel like prior to this past week, I feel like sales still hadn't picked up. I do feel like they're starting to pick up now. What is today? Today's November 4th. So, you know, Christmas is in the air. So I do think that sales will continue to hopefully go up now. I was a little concerned, like I said, towards the end of October there. I feel like, you know, sales were few and far between, but I do feel like it's starting to pick up. So I'm hoping it stays that way. A couple of things I want to talk about as far as eBay goes, you know, like I said, I do think sales are starting to pick up, which is awesome. But non-eBay related, because you guys know I like to ramble at the end of these videos. And it's been a while since I posted a video. And you guys know that Eric and I got our antique booth. We are set up in the antique booth. So yeah, it's really exciting. I just want to say I recorded using my camera that I record when I'm like sitting down doing hauls or cha-chings. That's the camera I used. And that is not a good camera to use while moving. So all of the footage that I have of us getting the booth together and the progress and all of that, it is so shaky because this camera that I'm using is not good for movement. I did not realize this at the time. I thought it would be the better option instead of taking my GoPro with me. Should have took the GoPro. So we are going to go to the antique booth probably either tomorrow or Monday. I'm not entirely sure what day. I'm going to re-record our booth and the setup and how it looks completed as of now. And I also will record kind of like a walkthrough to like how to get to our booth, just in case anyone is local and, you know, wants to know how to find it when you get to the antique mall. But unfortunately, I don't have that video yet because I have to re-record those shots with a camera that can withstand movement and not be so shaky. So I apologize, that video is a little bit behind. I do, however, have pictures of our progress, so I'll put those at like the end of the video when I do show our antique booth, so you can at least see the progress videos even though there's no progress. Or progress pictures, I'm saying. You'll be able to see the progress pictures because the progress videos were way too shaky, and I don't want to make anyone sick with that. I mean, it was exceptionally horrible shaking. I was like, well, maybe I can fix it. No, there was no fixing that. I tried doing shake reductions in my video editor, and it just... doing that really cuts the quality of a video down so bad. I mean, I don't have the best video editing software to begin with, but it's just, it was not working for me. So I'm just gonna redo the video. So you will see that video. As far as the antique booth, those of you who don't know, our antique booth is in Yesteryear Antique Mall. It is in Hanover, Pennsylvania, my hometown. And it's just been really exciting. We have sold things already, so we're already selling stuff, which is awesome. So it's really been exciting, and we are just so excited to keep doing it. You guys know, like, a lot of people we know who go to auctions and stuff like that, they all have antique booths, and a lot of them have antique booths at that particular mall as well. So it's just like really cool to finally being able to do it, because, you know, I was like always talking about it beforehand, like, you know, I'm hauling something and I was like, maybe for the booth, potentially for the booth, but there was no booth, and now there is one. So a lot of the stuff that we have, and you'll see, we got this really nice display case specifically for our glass. So that's probably one of the things our booth will be kind of known for. Right now there's swung vases in there and fairy lamps and things like that. We also have a lot of vintage Christmas stuff out right now because, you know, holidays are coming, as well as some pottery and stuff like that. So far, I think we've sold 2 fairy lamps, a swung vase, a pottery piece, a blow mold, and I'm not sure if it was anything else yet or not. But I'm so excited. Like, I want to like look for things specifically for the booth. But don't worry, guys, because I will still be listing on eBay. I'm not gonna stop listing on eBay, and if I ever do haul something that isn't listed or anything yet, and it's something that you are really interested in, just let me know and I'll put it up on eBay for you. And also, I am still going to be doing Whatnot videos. I don't know if you can see behind me, I have some stuff on my table. I am going to be doing a glass show on Whatnot on Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I don't have it all like full yet, but there's paperweights in there, glass, fish, and I have a hen on a nest. I don't even know what all's in there so far, but I'm starting to fill that up. So I will be having the Whatnot show. But yeah, I think that's pretty much everything. So stay tuned for the antique booth reveal video. I'm so excited to share that with you guys. And then if you ever do go in, let me know. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Let me know what you thought down in the comments, and I will see you next time.